Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So today's episode comes to you courtesy of Sam, who's been supporting this channel as a Brigadier General patron. And I truly couldn't do this without the support from amazing patrons like Sam. So again, Sam, thank you so much. And actually for this episode, Sam's gonna handle the intro for me.
Hey Mitch, it's Sam from Virginia Beach, Virginia. I really like all the videos you've been putting out for us, and I look forward to see what else you have for us in store in the future.
Well, thank you again, Sam, and thank you for the kind words, and I hope that you enjoy this episode as well, because on today's episode, well, let's take a trip back through time. A little while back, I did an episode called The One Deck I Finally Got Right, and it's actually been a deck that's been on my mind pretty much ever since I built it, pretty much ever since I came up with the idea for the deck, couldn't get it right, and then finally thought I got it right. And now I'm still kind of, I'm in a holding pattern. This is a concept that I absolutely love, but I just feel like it still just needs a little push. And to do that, well, I went to one of my favorite websites out there, mtg.design, a fantastic website. I highly recommend checking it out, where you can make your own custom cards, because for that deck, I wanted to actually craft my own commander. So I did just that. So let me introduce you to my perfect commander for this deck, Chozae, Life's Reflection, a 3/3 legendary creature shapeshifter with changeling, so it's every creature type that costs Azorius, Rakdos, green. Yeah, a 5-color commander. Go figure. Mitch loves 5-color commanders. Anyways, other creatures you control have changeling. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. So this is the commander that I wish Wizards would print. I absolutely need a commander like this in my life. It's such a simple concept for a commander, and one that they definitely could make, and I'm hoping that they do, but it is one that I think you can have a ton of interesting builds around. Kind of like a Lord's Tribal deck in a way, where you can utilize different effects that help different tribes, but all in the same deck, because as long as this commander is in play, you are going to get those benefits for all of your creatures. And again, not just for creatures that you have on the field. Again, other creatures you control have changeling. That is awesome. They are all creature types, but also every single card in your deck that is a creature also technically has changeling, and it includes creature spells as well, so you can also get certain triggers that you otherwise wouldn't be getting. So yeah, this commander is one that, again, I think is a pretty, just simplistic design in a way, one that Wizards definitely could do, one that could lead to a lot of interesting and exciting builds, and I think a lot of players out there would be pretty excited about it as well. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, what your thoughts are on this one too. But now let's talk about the inspiration for this card, other cards that I'm kind of using in place of it right now, and then also what kind of a deck I'd be building around it again, and that concept for the deck, some new cards that came out for this deck that are incredible for, again, this Lord's Tribal build. And actually, with that, I will mention that in the description below, there is a link to the cards that I'm bringing up that work really well with this and the concept. So yeah, make sure you check that out if you are interested. But first up, let's talk about the inspiration for this commander. An incredible card in its own right, Maskwood Nexus, an artifact for 4 that says, creatures you control are every creature type. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. Sound familiar? Yeah, I did change that to changeling. Again, I basically replaced, the are every creature type. The same is true. I changed that to changeling. I'm pretty sure that would work. Let me know, rules layers out there in the comments below if that wouldn't work for some reason. I figure that it would. If it doesn't, sure, you can just use the exact same text as this. I don't know why I chose to change it, but I did. Anyways, by paying 3, you can also tap and make a 2/2 changeling. So that's nice, but again, the main focus of this brand new commander that the brand new custom commander that I made is just caring about, again, applying that first part. Your creatures are all creature types, and all the creatures in your deck and your creature spells are also all creature types. Nice to be able to actually make tokens with this, but not as important. That being said, obviously, this is a key piece to the current deck that I do have, because obviously, this is kind of just in place of what that commander is. If I can get this into play, I'm getting that same effect, and my Lord deck can just work in an incredible way. And actually, with that Lord's deck, I am somewhat considering moving it to Urtet Remnant of Memnarch for the time being, a 2/2 Legendary Artifact creature mirror that just came out in our brand new, well, I mean, I guess it was in the precons, but still, you know what I mean. It says, whenever you cast a mirror spell, create a 1/1 colorless mirror artifact creature token at the beginning of combat on your turn, untap each mirror you control, and by paying Wilburg and tapping it, you get 3 counters on each mirror you control, activate only during your turn. So a great, commander for Mirror Tribal, our first Mirror Tribal commander. Okay, I mean, technically everyone would be like, Morophon! Yes, Morophon technically could be, or there's a lot of other commanders out there that technically could be a tribal commander. This one is specific to Mirror, though, and one that can work really well in a Lord Tribal deck. Again, if you can get Maskwood Nexus in play with this, any creature spell you cast is going to make you a mirror, which is also, again, any creature as well, any creature type because of that changeling. On top of that, you get to untap all of your creatures every single one of your combats, and then also, yeah, you can get them stronger by, getting more and more counters on them throughout the game. So yeah, a lot of my creatures in my Lord's Tribal really can utilize tap abilities to great effect, so being able to untap with this can be huge, and of course, building an army with that as well. So yeah, I'm actually considering moving over to this one. That being said, my current Lord's Tribal build is built around General Tazri. ETBs, go get an ally, put it in your hand, then shuffle. And you can also pay Wilburg and get ally creature control +X and non X the number of colors among those creatures. So sure, you can actually pump your creatures. More importantly, this is a tutor for a very specific card, and that of course is Mirror Entity. Mirror Entity is a changeling itself, so yes, also an ally that you can tutor for with this. And on top of that, pay X until end of turn, creatures you control base power total XX and gain all creature types. Being able to pump them is nice. More importantly, though, hey, gain all creature types, that's the most important thing. So kind of, again, like that Maskwood Nexus in a way, but again, it doesn't include, creatures that aren't, in the battlefield, creatures that, you're not casting. So it's only counting those creatures in play. That being said, it's still a great solution for now. But again, if I could get this brand new commander, if I could get Chozae Life's Reflection, that would be perfect. Because when I'm talking about Lord effects, I'm not just talking about, anthems in a way. I'm also talking about abilities that you can utilize with your creature types. Again, when all of your creatures are all creature types, you can take advantage of things like Birchlore Rangers, Gemhide Sliver, and Catilda Dawnheart Prime. First up, Birchlore Rangers. Tap 2 untapped elves you control, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So your creatures can immediately, as long as you can pair them, tap for mana. Gemhide Sliver. Speaking of which, all slivers have tap, add 1 mana of any color. So all of your creatures now are mana dorks. Speaking of which, Catilda. Humans you control have tap, add 1 mana of any of this creature's colors. So again, essentially turning your creatures into mana dorks. Every single one of your creatures. Yeah, that can get out of control in no time. Speaking of which, Sachi, Daughter of Shishiro. Oh, they're snakes you control, get +0/+1. Your creatures are also going to be snakes, so that is lovely. And on top of that, hey, shamans, which again, all your creatures are also shamans, tap for 2. So all of your creatures can tap for 2 mana. Again, you can ramp really quickly. And of course, we've got some individual creatures that can tap for a lot of mana as well. Elvish Archdruid. Other elves you control get ++1. So again, that anthem that can really help you out throughout the game. But more importantly, tap for green for each elf you control. And again, every single one of your creatures, no matter what they are going to be elves, so you can actually just add a ton of mana with this. Speaking of which, Wirewood Chandler, one of my favorite cards from when I was a kid. Tap, add X mana of any one color or X number of elves on the battlefield. Again, that can be a ton. And yeah, if you're playing against an elf tribal deck against one, yeah, that also counts theirs as well. So keep that in mind against your buddy's Lathril deck. So yeah, when I talked about, potentially having Urtet in the deck or as the, current commander of it, yeah, that could definitely be very impactful again with all these, abilities that, require tapping. Be able to untap them and do it again. You can really go out of control. And when it comes to being out of control, Marrow Regery can be huge for that. Other Merfolk creatures get ++1, so again, another great anthem. And on top of that, whenever you cast a Merfolk spell, you may tap or untap target permanent. Again, when you have that Maskwood Nexus type of effect like I have on Chozae, whenever you're casting any creature spell, it is a Merfolk spell, so you can untap permanents. Those can be lands, of course, or also, again, could be, those mana dorks that can tap for a lot like a Wirewood Chandler or Elvish Archdruid, so you can just make a ton of mana in absolutely no time. And speaking of a ton of mana, Scuttling Sliver. Slivers you have paid to untap this creature. Again, if you've got any of those creatures that can tap for more than 2 mana, that is infinite mana. Again, with Wirewood Chandler, infinite mana of all colors. So yeah, you can do some pretty broken and awesome things with that. Speaking of which, Goblin War Chief. Goblin spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, so that's nice. That cost reduction can save us a lot throughout the game, again, because all of our creatures in our deck are going to be goblins as well. And goblins you control have haste. Again, being able to get those Mandorks out and tap them right away can be huge. Speaking of tapping, Magda, Brazen Outlaw. Other dwarves you control get +1/+0, so that's just a nice little anthem. More importantly, though, whenever a dwarf you control becomes tapped, create treasure token. So whenever any of your creatures become tapped, including, say, again, those Mandorks, that can just tap on their own, we get a treasure token. And of course, we can use those treasures to sacrifice them and go tutor out any artifact or dragon from our deck directly onto the battlefield. And of course, again, every single creature in our deck would be a dragon as well. In a somewhat similar way, we've got Homing Sliver. Each Sliver card in each player's hand has Sliver Cycling for 3, which means that we can discard that card and go get any Sliver in our deck. And again, every single one of our creatures in our hand and in our deck are going to be Slivers. So basically, every single one of your creatures can tutor for another creature for just 3 mana. Pretty absurd. Another card that can come in really handy, though, is Chozae War Chief. Beast spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, so again, a cost reduction like that Goblin War Chief, so that can be great and can really save us a lot of mana throughout the game. And on top of that, pay 1 and a green to regenerate target beast, so we can protect any of our creatures with that regeneration. Again, when we have Changeling for every one of our creatures. Lord of the Unreal, speaking of protecting our creatures, illusion creatures you control get ++1 and have hexproof. Now, this is one of those rare Lord effects that basically just applies to all of our illusions, because this is not illusion, it does not say other. Therefore, again, when this has Changeling, it is also an illusion, giving itself ++1 and hexproof 2, which is huge. Skull Captain, somewhat similar, but again, it does have that other spirit creatures you control get ++1 and have hexproof. Still great to protect everything else and pump everything else as well. But yeah, plenty of great ways to protect our army. And when it comes to an army, though, Admiral Beckett Brass can help us out with that. Other pirates you control at ++1, so all of our creatures, again, are also going to be pirates. And on top of that, at the beginning of your end step, gain control of target non-land permanent controlled by a player who has dealt combat damage by 3 or more pirates this turn. So if we get through on one player with 3 of our creatures, any of our creatures, again, because they're all pirates, we get to steal something, which, of course, if it's a creature, now joins our side, and it's also going to have Changeling, and also will be a pirate that can help us steal more things. Or how about Rogok, Carekeep, Overlord? Yeah, kobolds are here. Other kobolds you control get +2/+2, which are all of our creatures. Whenever you cast a kobold spell, you can pay 2. If you do, you get a 4/4 dragon with flying. And on top of that, whenever you cast a dragon spell, you get a 0/1 kobold. So basically, again, all of our creatures are dragon kobolds when we're casting them, right? They're all creature types, so we can pay 2 and get a 4/4, again with Changeling, and also get a 0/1 with Changeling, filling the board even quicker. And in a very disgusting way, we now have Myram Sentinel Worm, Flying Ward 2. Yeah, definitely did not need that Ward 2. Whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of it, except the token isn't legendary if the dragon is legendary. So yeah, again, every single one of our creatures what we're casting and having come into play are going to be dragons as well, thanks to that Changeling. And now we are getting extra copies of them, every single one of them. Yeah, things can get really gross with something like this. And speaking of gross, Atlaplani Nest Tender, absolutely love it with this kind of a strategy. Atlaplani can make eggs by paying 2 and tapping at a 0/1 egg with Defender. On top of that, whenever an egg dies, reveal a card to the top of our library until we reveal a creature. Then that goes directly onto the battlefield. So now when we have any creature die, because again, all of our creatures are also eggs thanks to that Changeling, we get to replace it with another random creature at the top of our library. So good luck opponents trying to stop us. Millicent, Relentless Revenant, another way to replace our creatures. Gonna cost 1 to cast for each spirit we control. So yeah, a lot of the time this can just cost, 2 mana essentially, right? And on top of that, whenever it or another non-token spirit we control dies or deals combat damage to a player, we get a 1/1 spirit. All of our creatures are going to be spirits, so we can make a massive army in no time. Zathra Necromancer, this one is also incredible. Hey, whenever it or another human you control dies, you get a 2/2 zombie token into play tapped, which of course is also going to be a human. So if that dies, we get another one, and then another one. Basically an unkillable army. So good luck opponents trying to stop us again once we get things set up with a commander like this. And of course, we've got some card advantage lords as well. Midnight Entourage with Aetherborn. Other Aetherborn you control get +1/+1 whenever it or another Aetherborn you control dies. You draw a card and lose 1 life. Azami Lady of Scrolls. Hey, all your wizards, now they can tap to draw a card, and every single one of your creatures are wizards. They're also allies, though, because Seagate Loremaster can help us out with that. Tap, draw a card for each ally you control. Yeah, this can get pretty absurd again with those untap effects that we talked about. And yeah, even a simple spell like a Mass Appeal can help us draw an absurd amount of cards for just 3 mana. Draw a card for each human you control. Every single one of our creatures are human. Yeah, we've got a human tribal deck, a dragon tribal deck, an ally tribal deck, all the tribes all in one with a commander like this. So yeah, cards like this can have a massive impact. So yeah, at the end of the day, I am really hoping to see a commander like this be printed in the future. I do like my design, Chozae Life's Reflection. I like the name. I like the, the overall just feel and look. And yeah, I think that this kind of a commander is definitely something that Wizards could do. I mean, we did go, see some more, changelings on Kaldheim. I was really hoping to see something like this. We did not see that, but I'm sure changelings will be back in the future. And again, this kind of a Maskwood Nexus type commander, I think, is one that a lot of players will be pretty excited about. There's a lot of really exciting things that you can do with it, a lot of exciting directions that you can take it. And again, kind of like a tribe for all tribes commander, I think is a pretty cool concept. So yeah, we'll see. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on this one. Do you like this commander? Do you not like it? What would you change about it? What would you not change about it? And then, yeah, also, if you are interested in those cards I talked about on this episode, maybe building a deck like this one, make sure you check out that link in the description below. And with that, today's episode is coming to a close. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on it in the comments below. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.